It's Thursday, December 30. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. The annual New Year's Eve fireworks on the waterfront and fireworks on the bay have been cancelled. Hosts, the Urban Development Corporation, UDC, say they are cognizant of the current health protocols and support the government's efforts to stem the spread of COVID-19. The annual fireworks have become a staple event for the island to usher in the new year. Over the years, in excess of 300,000 people have gathered along the Kingston waterfront and Ochereus Bay Beach to witness the island's most stellar fireworks display. These events have been the corporation's gift to the nation and its way of celebrating continued national development. The UDC says it looks forward to the return of these well-loved events in the future. In this digital age, the security of personal information is a major concern. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton addressed security concerns surrounding the recently launched Vaccination digital card. Dr. Tufton said the system has built-in security mechanisms to protect persons' information. He also reminded persons to be selective of the entities or individuals with which they share their digital vaccination card.
This requirement for information upload an additional security feature. So yes, it does take some effort, but it is an important security feature to validate that the person who is requesting a card is who that person said they are. Otherwise, you could end up with duplications and all sorts of things, people having people's birth dates and because they have access to their information. We can't do that. Or just mischief, people changing up people's cards for one reason or the other. There are people who see that as part of their energy should be placed in that direction. So it really is a security feature, and I think it's an important one.
Dr. Tufton was speaking at the card launch just days ago. The digital card will be made available on the ministry's www.moh.gov.jm website. It features a quick response QR code to enable the validation of the information on the card and of the person's vaccination status. The digital card is accessible via a mobile phone or other electronic device and provides for ease of travel as the QR code is readable on international platforms. Kingston Harbour is the 7th largest natural harbour in the world. One of the challenges that confront the harbour is that of solid waste. The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development continues to spearhead urban renewal via the Kingston Redevelopment Project. However, the care and maintenance of the harbour is critical to these plans. In this rebroadcast, Carol Francis speaks to Dr. Paris Liu Ayi, the director of the Mona Geoinformatics Institute. Back in 2019, MGI conducted a hydrodynamic modeling of solid waste in the Kingston Harbour.
Recognizing the need for a development plan for the Kingston Harbour, the Mona Geoinformatics Institute embarked on a study to assess the impact of garbage flowing into the harbour from land-based sources such as harborside communities. A 3D tool called hydrodynamic modeling was used.
Hydrodynamic modeling allows us to really bring in a four-dimensional approach to the Kingston Harbour, to test scenarios and possibilities as well as the realities that exist out there right now. Because anything that is going to be looking at cruise shipping in the harbour is going to have to look at everything in the harbour. The downtown Kingston redevelopment project is going to require a look at everything. The Port of Kingston, public health concerns about the quality of water in Kingston Harbour. And then ultimately, the incorporation of hydrodynamic principles allows us to go all the way inland to the source of what's happening in Kingston Harbour. The coastline around Kingston Harbour is not the end of the Kingston Harbour. Kingston Harbour extends many, many kilometers inland. And ultimately, it is these areas that feed the Kingston Harbour, for better or for worse, and people living in the hills of St. Andrew are effectively harbour side because there literally is a straight line between them and the Kingston Harbour, and that's called a gully.
15 gullies and rivers are incorporated into the model. It confirmed that a huge amount of the garbage which ends up in the Kingston Harbour gets there through complex gully and river drainage systems crisscrossing Kingston, St. Andrew and Portmore in St. Catherine. Data collected indicate that a significant amount of the garbage flowing into the Kingston Harbour is from the Sandy Gully in Kingston.
The Rio Cobre is also a very important contributor of solid waste into the Kingston Harbour. Other major gully systems, Jamaica, Barnes Gully, Jew Gully, these are all major contributors to Kingston Harbour because they empty into the Kingston Harbour. But again, it is not the outflow point that's the concern. It is where it's coming from upstream. You mentioned a while ago harborside communities. And I just give an example of a very easy one. Port Royal. Port Royal does not create the garbage that's choking Port Royal. I think we can establish that as a fact. So in the same way, communities on the northern shore of the harbour, Greenwich Town, for example, the garbage that affects the Greenwich Town community is not all coming from Greenwich Town. And that's a very important distinction.
Several initiatives designed to reduce the amount of garbage that ends up in the Kingston Harbour have been implemented. Among them, a ban on plastic bags and the recycling of plastic bottles.
When these are discarded in Manor Park, they end up in the Kingston Harbour. When these are discarded in Barbican, they end up in Kingston Harbour. Whether you throw it in a gully or on the roadside, it ends up in Kingston Harbour. Unless it's collected and deposited properly at Riverton City, it ends up in Kingston Harbour. Even if you throw it in your backyard, it stays in your backyard for a couple of weeks, eventually it will end up in Kingston Harbour. And that's what we have to be able to be very clear in understanding, that this is not just a Greenwich Town problem or Port Royal problem, it's everywhere. It's just a matter of time.
The garbage is not only having an adverse effect on the environment, it's also affecting commercial activity, investment opportunities, and public health.
A major container terminal at the Port of Kingston is affected by debris in the Kingston Harbour. We're talking about ship propellers that are going to be knotted up and hulls that are dinged by floating refrigerators that are causing damage to these ships. That's a cost, that's an economic cost, both in terms of real dollars as well as loss of productivity, delays in shipping and so on. The ability to attract investments and more ships to call on the Port of Kingston. That's direct, that's real dollars. You also talk about plans about the revitalization of downtown Kingston. You talk about new investments in corporate headquarters and bringing people back downtown. There are a myriad of projects that are slated in the downtown Kingston space. Millions of dollars are being spent on master plans and so on. These are threatened by the fact that part of the appeal of downtown Kingston is the Kingston Harbour. You talk about public health issues related to the Kingston Harbour, whether people are directly ingesting Kingston Harbour water or are nauseated by the smell. All of these things will be addressed by fixing the Kingston Harbour. And then you have the environment itself. There is money in the environment, direct and indirect. You're talking about the mangroves, you talk about fisheries, you talk about fishermen who rely on the viability of these environments in order for them to make their living. You talk about cruise shipping. Cruise shipping is different from container shipping in one very important regard. The appeal of a physical place to attract tourists to come here will depend on a pristine environment. And so we need to make sure that the environment is ready for them. You don't want to take them to Kingston Harbour and then to see all these the Ramsar protected mangrove wetlands and they're nauseated by a smell or they're just busy stepping over garbage than actually seeing a bird or a crab or whatever they want to look at. So those are the elements from an economic basis that the Kingston Harbour is more than just about a mangrove or fisheries area or so on. It's all related.
There are plans to restore Kingston Harbour to its once pristine state using the findings of the hydrodynamic modeling study.
Policies, legislation, enforcement will also be very important. We're talking about anything ranging from enforcing existing litter laws, improving the capacity of the National Solid Waste Management Agency to not just collect, but collect frequently, collect capably without missing anything in between. reliably, those are going to be important elements as well. But fundamentally, at the basis of all of this, we're really going to need an attitude change, a cultural change towards disposal, the generation of garbage, and ultimately the disposal and management of it. It is not somebody else's problem. It's your problem, it's my problem, it's all our problem at the same time.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I'm Carol Francis.
The Registrar General's Department says all RGD offices will be closed at 12 noon to the public on December 31, 2021. Normal operations will resume on Monday, January 3, 2022. RGD is reminding the public that applications for birth, death, and marriage certificates may be submitted online at www.rgd.gov.jm. And in business news, motorists will pay more for both gas and diesel this week. These details plus other market news in today's business report. According to the latest ex-refinery costs from Petrojam, effective Thursday, December 30, motorists should pay more this week for gasoline and diesel. 87 and 90 octane gasoline are both up by $3 and will be sold for $165 and $170.44 per liter respectively. Automotive diesel fuel saw a price increase of $3.06 and will be sold for $160.49 per liter. Ultra-low sulfur diesel is up by $3.06 and will be sold for $166.10 per liter. Meanwhile, kerosene increased in price by $3.06 and will be sold for $137.53 per liter. Propane liquid petroleum will be sold for $69.24 per liter, up by 95 cents, and butane liquid petroleum will be sold for $78.03 per liter after an increase of 25 cents. Be on the lookout for price changes as marketing companies and retailers will add their markup to these prices. In foreign exchange trading for Wednesday, December 29, the US dollar sold for an average $154.79. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $121.12. The pound sterling traded for $208.23, and the euro sold for an average $178.01. In Wednesday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 6,527 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 98 stocks, of which 56 advanced, 31 declined, and 11 traded firm. The junior market index advanced by 6 points to close at over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, Burrito Investments Limited, and Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Access Financial Services Limited, and Berger Paints Jamaica Limited. Trading firm were 1834 Investments Limited, CAC 2000, 9.5% preference shares, and Consolidated Bakers Jamaica Limited. T-Tech Limited was the volume leader with over 2 million units, followed by Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 985,000 units, and Mayberry Investments Limited with over 950,000 units. In market data for oil, prices rose on Thursday to extend several consecutive days of gains, buoyed by data showing U.S. fuel demand holding up well despite soaring Omicron coronavirus infections. Brent crude futures rose 24 cents or 0.3% to $79.47 a barrel, up for a fourth day. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 26 cents or 0.3% to $76.82 a barrel for a seventh session of gains. This week on Culinary Trails, we take the blended approach as we visit Ali Roti and Jamaican cuisine.
delightful menu from Alice Jamaican Cuisine. Alice come about from my former boss, Mr. Lawrence, Michael Lawrence. He's a Trinidadian. Alice Jamaican Cuisine is a West Indian roti shop. We serve dal puri roti, we serve bus up shot, we serve plain roti. Plain roti, they known as paratha roti. We do doubles here. You can get chicken doubles, shrimp doubles, curried goat doubles, regular doubles. Regular doubles is chickpeas with either Drew plum chutney or mango chutney. Dal puri roti is the roti with the split peas in the middle. Then we have bus up shot, one of our favorite. Bus up shot is plain roti that is torn up in pieces, but it is flaky and soft, very nice. And then we have paratha roti. Paratha roti, also known as plain roti, similar to the bus up shot, but it's round like the roti, it's round like the dal puri roti. Doubles is like patty in Jamaica, in Trinidad. So once you go to Trinidad, their patty there would be a doubles. Doubles is a sandwich with chickpeas and mango chutney. But here as Alice Jamaican Cuisine, we put chicken with doubles, we put shrimp with doubles, we put curried goat with doubles. Very nice. At Alice, we serve Jamaican food also. So it's a Trini and Jamaican. So that's how we come up with the name Alice Jamaican Cuisine. Alice is a well-known roti shop in Trinidad. The Jamaican cuisine is in Jamaica here. So we serve rice and peas, we serve fried chicken, barbecue fried chicken, oxtail and bean. We serve stew peas on a Wednesday. So we mix a little.
Now with COVID, there had to be a number of changes for restaurants and so.
Right.
What changes have you put in to make your customers feel safe?
Well, we have our hand sanitizer, of course. We do mostly takeout now.
We have been coming here for years. My mother started, and this is the only place, one, that my daughter eats roti from other than at home, and with the boneless curry chicken. And then we have a variety when we come here, but when we come, we feel at home. So you do the social distancing, your hand sanitization, so you're comfortable that you're not going to be exposed. And then just the attitude of the servers and good, awesome food.
Here at Alice, we're a family. So once you walk through the door, you become our family. We have the best rotis here, the best curry. At Alice Jamaican Cuisine, you feel welcome, you're home.
In regional news, we begin in Trinidad and Tobago, where Health Minister Terence Delsing says he is concerned about vaccination levels among healthcare workers. He made the statement on Wednesday at a media conference. Here's Terry Ann Brown-Campbell of TTT Live with the details.
Without healthcare workers, the country's fight against the COVID-19 pandemic would collapse. This is a point Minister of Health Terence Diasing has been making throughout the pandemic. He says he continues to be concerned about the vaccine rates among nurses.
But Northwest and North Central are two that we have to pay particular attention to. The TRHA Tobago was about 50%, so we have to work with them.
Minister Diasing says no effort is being spared to encourage healthcare workers to get vaccinated.
We are literally going door to door, person to person, ward to ward, department to department, giving them the information so that they can make an informed decision.
The health minister notes 95 to 98% of doctors have been fully vaccinated. He adds 80% of nurses at the Southwest Regional Health Authority are fully vaccinated, with more than 70% at Eastern Regional Health Authority. Terry Ann Brown-Campbell, TTT News.
In Guyana, a new human organ and tissue transplant bill has been presented to the National Assembly and should be debated soon. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony says this historic piece of legislation provides a much-needed legislative framework for transplants, and not only will it save people's lives, but he says it will significantly reduce the cost of treatment.
Well, we do have a lot of patients with end-stage renal diseases. And once you have end-stage renal disease, then you would require to have dialysis. Transplant, especially kidney transplant, has been shown to be very effective in terms of assisting patients because they're no longer required to come every, 3 times a week to be able to get dialysis. Plus, there's a lot of cost when you're doing dialysis. All of this can be removed if you get a transplant, and the person can also return to almost normal work life.
In St. Lucia, the country's fire service was bogged down by road crashes over the holiday weekend. More details on this from HTS News Force.
Road traffic accidents were the order of the day during the Christmas holiday weekend. The St. Lucia Fire Service attended to a number of accident victims in communities island-wide, including Bexor, Goodlands and the Moncastries. They included the commuters on an omnibus which slammed into a pole on Boxing Day.
Were of a medical nature, but there were many road traffic accidents occurring on our highways and byways. Many of those road traffic accidents occurred in the various communities, such as Vidbouteille, Bois de Wange, Sarot, Bexor, Goodlands, the Mon, and even in Cicero. One very serious accident occurred along the Lower Mon Road, whereby a minibus crashed and ripped off a utility pole, injuring 6 of its occupants. This occurred on Sunday, December 26, 2021.
A man was wheeled into the ER at the St. Jude Hospital after suffering lacerations in an alleged cutlass attack in the south of the island. First responders also administered care to stabbing victims as fire officers welcomed the holiday break from attending to shooting victims.
We had 2 stabbings, one self-inflicted stabbing and another occurring in Waterworks and Bexor, respectively. Luckily for us, there were no shootings of any nature occurring along our neighborhoods within the northern part of the island.
The fire service continues to appeal to motorists to be vigilant and follow the rules of the road.
I want to employ to all our citizens that they should take all necessary measures to refrain from any violence, to protect themselves and to keep themselves and their family members and friends safe, to drive safely on our roadways, and of course, to take all necessary precautions to keep themselves healthy and safe towards the upcoming new year of 2022.
According to the fire service, it was a busy holiday weekend with all fire stations responding to multiple medical emergencies. Most of the calls, 60, came from the north of the island. Gina Filippi, HTS News Force.
And we're on the ball with sports. No spectators will be allowed at the upcoming cricket and schoolboy football matches on the sporting calendar for the immediate future. This was announced in a statement from the local government and rural development ministry on Wednesday. Portfolio Minister Desmond McKenzie says, quote, specifically these are the white ball one-day and T20 international matches between the West Indies and Ireland, scheduled for January 8 to 16 at Sabina Park, and the semi-final rounds of Manning Cup and Da Costa Cup matches, end quote. The decision was taken owing to rising COVID-19 positivity on the island, compounded by the threat of the Omicron variant. This was done by a multi-ministry and agency committee. Minister McKenzie said the government will continue to assess the COVID-19 situation on the island and will adjust decisions accordingly. And that's our package. As always, we say thanks for making it PBCJ, the People's Station.